Now recording.
Hi, Craig.
Craig.
Hello,
Oh,
everyone, and
hail
welcome.
Craig.
Oh, hail, Craig. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Roundtable Report. I'm Shaylee,
I'm Jazzy.
and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Cherry joining us from Oasis. How you doing, Cherry?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Yay,
Well,
Cherry, yay!
we are happy to have you here. So, dying question. Can you explain to us what Oasis is and what you do?
Sure. So, what Oasis is it's basically a community that fosters learning and encourages people to kind of push their goals a little further. Um, we essentially started out as an RBG community back in like 2017. So, like, long story short, I had gotten kicked off of my team for reasons that didn't make sense. And I was like, I don't want this to happen to anyone else. Like all the stuff I had to tolerate, all the toxicity, the way people talk down on you, especially when you're like newer to the high rated scene. So after like everything I had went through over the course of those 2 years and getting kicked off, I kind of went, okay, well, I want to make like a small difference and help people who are probably going through something similar. So we started off as an RBG only community. We did like a lot of learning RBGs and we kind of encouraged people like, hey, this is how you play RBGs. This is how you can get better. This is how you can like finally reach your goals of like 1800, et cetera, et cetera. And that kind of blew up in and of itself because I think PvP as a whole is super toxic. So finding a place that was like, a little more chill and a little more welcoming was what attracted a lot of people. And then unfortunately, over the years, RPGs as a whole slowly declined in activity, and so did our Discord. So we kind of got together and we were like, okay, well, maybe let's not just do PvP. Like, we have such a good structure and we have so many willing people that want to help others. So let's do something else that can continue, like, our vision of helping people. So we were like, okay, let's do PvE. So then we started doing raids and Mythic Plus towards the end of BFA, and then Shadowlands was when it really took off, and then it kind of continued into Dragonflight, and it's really weird now because our Discord is actually primarily PvE now rather than PvP, but we still welcome like all styles of gameplay. And then what I do is I basically kind of run the whole thing with like a small group of friends who are on the staff, but in terms of like more specifics, I'll talk to people about like those interested in wanting to be event leaders. Like I'll talk to them and be like, okay, why are you interested? What are the types of things you do? I'm the type of person that likes to be hands on, so I talk in like text channels a lot with people. I'll talk with like a lot of the members. And I'll even host events myself. So I kind of do a little of everything, especially when it comes to like major events like our charity stuff, any tournaments we do and stuff like that.
Do you have a target audience or do you just include everybody?
I would say the target audience is lower XP people because it's kind of like the thing where we want to start them off on the right foot. Because people that have been playing the game for a while or are like in the mid range, like they typically have resources already that they can kind of rely on, whether that be a guild, other communities, or stuff like that. So we try to focus on like the lower XP people and then maybe some of the mid range people, because we want to help them like network better. Because usually something as simple as networking is why people can't push higher than they want to. So we try to focus on basically the people that are lacking like resources, friend circles, or whatever they need to make that dent in like their Mythic Plus rating, their BG Blitz rating, stuff like that, so that they can move forward. Because the way I kind of describe our community to people is kind of like a oh, I forgot the word we used to use, but this is probably the wrong word, but uh like a filter community. Like we help people and then we send them on their way kind of thing. Like we're kind of the short term to get you started and we'll always be here for you to come back to if you ever just want to hang out. Stepping stone. That's the right word. Oh my god. It's stepping stone. There you go. That's how I would describe our
You
community.
s you sound like you're having a day like I am. Words are hard.
Words are
They're
hard,
very
typing is
difficult.
hard, everything is it's a day. It's been a day.
So how many members are you guys up to?
So right now our Discord is 7,200 people.
That's a lot of people, and we thought our 1,400 was a lot.
Oh,
My heart
it
just
might
dropped.
seem like a lot, but don't worry, like probably half of those people are AFK and never talk in the Discord anyways. That's just
It's
the
about the same.
accumulation over 7 years.
That it's funny that y'all started out as mainly PvP. I remember because I've been around for, since the dawn of time apparently.
I don't
Uh,
wanna talk about it.
yeah. My PvP experience is getting ganked and silenced in Warsong Gulch back in vanilla. And I promptly said, "Well, I'm not doing that again because that's not fun for me anymore. Stupid rogues."
So I leveled my original tune was on Boulder Fist, back through Vanilla and Burning Crusade. Boulder Fist was a horde, heavily populated PvP server, and I was Alliance.
Oh no.
You were a glutton for punishment, is what you were.
Yes, I was glutton for punishment, but when you started messing with one person in the guild that I was in, you mess with the whole raid team.
I mean, my
Uh-oh.
original server was a PvP one as well, but and my server was actually about 50-50 Alliance Horde. We were relatively balanced, which meant that, you know, oh no, the Horde are attacking Stormwind. Guess what? Giant battle.
Oh, I miss those, honestly.
I mean, those could be really fun. I'm not That's a lot of fun defending your capital from
That's an
the
idea for an
yeah,
event.
that would be interesting. I mean, we just had the running of the gnomes and went and I unfortunately did not participate this year. This is the first year that I have not participated, but the conclusion of the running of the gnomes after Booty Bay is you always run. You get on the boat at Booty Bay and you go over to Ratchet, and then uh, go north to Ogremar, and you just body your way through with level 2 and 3 gnomes that just level through running through zones, and you just body your way through Ogremar, and then you lick the war chief, whomever that may be, and you just have thousands of corpses in the throne room of the horde. It's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
no.
someone in our Discord screen recording it the other day because a lot of us were kind of still lagging with how many people were there, but
Oh yeah, that's a
they
lot.
they they had gotten to the boat, so we were just watching their stream instead, and you just see a line of bodies leading up to the horde room.
Yep.
It was kind of funny.
You just basically go as far as you can, res, instantly die, run back, get as far as you can before that res pop-up goes away, click it, die, try again, get all the
Yep.
way into the throne room.
Oh my god. So we're mostly Alliance, aren't we, Jazzy?
Uh, we have, I think, well, yeah, we're mostly Alliance. Now that everything's cross-faction, it's a little hard to get the numbers properly. I don't have them in front of me, but we're about, I would say probably 85-90% Alliance, the rest Horde.
I feel like we need to
Proudmoore,
find
you know,
we need to find a primarily horde guild.
that'd be hilarious.
Hold on. Hold on, I'm thinking here.
You're
Have
you're
them
you're cooking.
Stormwind with us defending it, and
Oh
then we
yeah.
could flip it and we could storm Orgrimmar.
That would be a lot of fun.
We should not give me ideas. That's
No,
not
we should not.
because
Those
if
are
anybody's
those are
gonna make it
dangerous.
happen, look,
Yeah,
when I get an idea, I run with it, Jazzy.
I know. It's not terrifying at all.
So,
Uh,
Cherry, do you prefer doing, like, PvP or PvE or raiding or, like, fun runs, or what is your idea of fun?
It kind of varies how I'm feeling. Like in Shadowlands, for example, I primarily did 3v3 arenas, and then Dragonflight, I primarily did Mythic Plus, the entire expansion, and then now with the War Within, I'm back to um I'm back to PvP main, but it's primarily BG Blitz and not threes. So it kind of just varies, I guess, what I'm enjoying. But this expansion so far, I'm back to being a PvP main again because it's fun to me.
Do
What do you
you do
play?
any of the competitive stuff?
Competitive stuff, as
Like
in,
do you go try to go for AWC or anything
oh
along those
god,
lines?
no.
Okay.
Oh
Do
god,
you
no.
do you get the
I I'm the type of person to get Gladiator, then call it a day.
Oh,
That's it.
okay. All
That's
right.
good enough
That's
for
fair.
me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's like Acheron and AOTC. They do it twice
Exactly.
and then they're
Yep.
done.
They get everybody the achievement and like, all right, see you next season.
Yeah,
Love you, Zos.
that's me. I have like a goal for the season. I'll maybe push a little higher than what I wanted, and then I'll just call it after that.
See, I had an M plus team in Shadowlands, and we're like, you know what? Let's see what we can do. We're not expecting a lot, but let's go see. And that was for we did it for the MDI, and then we also did it for the TGP back in I think it was season 1 or 2 of Shadowlands. And once you get on a tournament realm where you can just buy the top gear, it makes things a lot more fun.
Oh yeah.
You just
It's I may have not done like AWC levels of anything, but I know when I did do Mythic Plus and Dragonflight, I was in two of the Eve Ascensions, so that's like the most competitive, I guess, setting I've been in personally. But yeah, that was fun to have like all that maximum gear and enchants and stuff just like handed to you, and then you just stock up on like endless consumables in your bags. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about using a 500 gold augment rune every time I die. No, it's just free on a vendor. I can
just
use
use
as
it.
many as I want.
Yeah. All
Dude,
of
I'm
your
still
rings have all the
using
sockets and the best gems and best enchants. And then what I thought was very strange, and this is true on all tournament realms, the the NPC that you can get gold from for repairs is a goblin. I feel like that's missing the mark a bit.
yeah. Just
I
just
feel
just
I think
They
that's
usually
a little
take
throw it.
bit.
gold, not give.
Yeah, they're very stingy usually.
Jazzy, we still need to make a team for the tournament realms at some point.
Yes, we do. Oh, for yes. For what?
For one of the MDI or TGP or something.
I mean, MDI is forming right now, and I'm one of 2 people needing a last minute team. They posted an M plus. Where are you?
Up to What do you mean, where am I? I'm doing things with the social media
Oh,
that
likely so.
I
Like
always
that's a
do.
real thing. Don't lie to me.
Uh-huh. You do it then.
No, thank you.
I rest my case. You see what I put up with, Cherry?
Oh, I know the feeling all too well.
It's all in good fun though.
Oh yeah.
We have a blast.
Oh yeah.
So what's your main?
So in terms of mains, I'm kind of playing all the healers. So that's kind of my project right now in BG Blitz is um I'm playing every single healer spec, so that includes discipline and holy for like priest, for example. I'm playing every single healer spec, and originally the goal was to just get them to 1800 because that's the rating you need in PvP to get the elite sets that are specific to PvP. But then I was like, you know what? With how like inflated the rating is in Blitz and just for fun, let's get all of these healers to 2400. So I've been slowly working on that. So like my pally is like 2300. I have a preservation at 2200, and then I have like a couple others at 2100. So I'm just slowly working on all of them. I know in theory I should be like focusing on one and sending that one straight to 2400, but sometimes, like I'm so impatient that I'll set a queue, and if it's like 8 minutes, I'm like, all right, it's too long. I'm logging on a different character for like a 5 minute queue. Like those 3 extra minutes are just too much. I can't wait.
Squirrel.
So I just bounce back and forth a lot.
I'm the same way. For like dungeon queues, I play a tank, so I don't. What is a queue? Like you hit the
Oh, yeah,
button
it's
and then you join a
instant.
group, right? That's
Mhm.
just how that works. But then I'll be playing one of my DPS and be in a queue and like, oh, average wait time is 15 minutes. What?
Yeah. Being a
Yeah.
being a DPS sucks if you don't have a dedicated tank. So I have migrated back to the shaman. Um, not such a huge fan of lightning. I like fire spec for elemental. It's just not good right now. But that's neither here nor there. I was playing a shadow priest, and then they had to destroy shadow. And then they made
I mean, that's
void
because
we
you joined.
void weaver is not good, and
Sure.
I'm very sad about that.
I just constantly see halos going in and out, and then them doing obscene amounts of healing and damage and whatnot
Right?
just from that one button, and it kind of
It's
just makes me go,
weird. Halo shouldn't do that much damage.
Tell that to my holy priest. She is insane with
That's
Halo.
I mean, yeah. Halo and Holy Nova.
Ugh. Yeah,
Using that as shadow is what gets me.
I know. Holy Nova is Shadow? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
right?
oh man. So you said you've PvP, you're doing Blitz.
Mhm.
You've done M+. Is it just kind of a flavor of the month type of deal, or do you have a favorite? What is your favorite? You can be
I
specific.
I think, it probably just depends on how the season feels, because raiding for me is definitely out of the window. I can't stand raiding personally. Um, I don't know
That's like
why.
all I do.
To me, it's just really boring because I'm in that weird spot where it's like, um, when we're progging a boss that I find easy, and then it's like so reliant on the rest of the team, kind of being there too. But then at the same time, like I know that's what I'm walking into when I raid at like a mid to lower level because I also don't care about mythic raiding, for example. So I just don't raid to avoid all of it because it's like it's also like a 2 to 3 hour commitment depending on like who you raid with, and it's like I know myself. I know there's gonna be a day where it's like I really don't want to show up for 2 to 3 hours to do that. So like, why am I gonna be a detriment to a guild and screw everyone else over? So I just don't raid because it's like, why am I gonna put that on other people? Um, so I avoid raiding altogether. In terms of Mythic Plus, I never really truly did it until Dragonflight, and I kind of tunneled it because I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Um, but then it got to the point where I was actually playing an off meta class. I was playing a Feral Druid and I got to 3,500, which was cool as an off meta spec because that was pretty high. But then that's also the point where it's like, okay, well, now I guess the only thing left is to get title. And to get title as an off meta spec, you have to network a lot. And I
Yeah.
was not about to sit in queue for like 30 minutes a time just to get declined repeatedly because I wasn't, I don't know, a mage, shadow priest, dog evoker, or whatever. So I was like, all right, that's my cap. And then I slowly started transitioning back to PvP. And now, like, usually I would be doing threes, for example, to start working towards Gladiator. But the season is just so deflated right now and it's like really bad. Whereas I don't know what the heck they did to Blitz, like if it was uncapped or whatever, but your rating climbs so fast there. So, you know, see number go up, it's just naturally more satisfying and it just seems like it's not the most active. Like I'm pretty sure solo shuffle and like threes are technically still more popular, but because your rating is going so much faster, it creates that like hidden effect of like, oh, this is like the most popular mode when it's probably on par with the other ones that already exist. But it just feels more fun, right? So that's kind of what I'm tunneling now, and I haven't even really touched threes yet. So it kind of is a mix of flavor of the month stuff, but also I guess like what I feel like doing. Because before the expansion dropped, I did already tell myself I was gonna go back to PvP. I just didn't think I would be enjoying Blitz as much as I'm enjoying it right now.
It's funny you say off meta, because I play a brewmaster. Like that is my main and has been for a long time, and I continually see all the quote unquote tier list streamer whatnot. Brewmaster's so bad they're like C tier or they're
Yeah,
at best
Brewmaster is
B
always like
tier.
towards the bottom, I feel
Yeah,
like.
they're always at the bottom, and I'm just sitting here like that's because you don't know how to play it. Trust me, I'm fine. I will be
It's
absolutely fine.
yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like you could have a brewmaster and a I don't know, like what's the meta right now? Prot warrior. You could have two players of equal skill on both of those classes, but the prot warrior will make everyone's lives easier, despite them playing at the exact same level.
Yeah,
It just unfortunately makes the life of everyone else easier. Therefore, that becomes meta,
yeah,
and
exactly.
so
And that happens with like an M plus when they run DH tanks, for example, because they just have infinite ad control.
yep.
Rude. Yeah, it's
Infinite ag control.
I
between
played a
Sigil
DH
of
tank very
Misery.
briefly, and it's so crazy how much control you have over interrupts and stops by
Yeah,
yourself if your
Sigil
team
of
isn't doing it.
Misery for stun, Sigil of Silence for an actual silence. That you have your interrupt, you have a dispel, you have your meta, you have a stun. Like you have everything under the sun, and then you also have chains.
And then Brewmaster what only has leg
And
sweep,
yeah, we have leg sweep, we have ROP, which
which you can't really
situational
even
MS.
count. Yeah, because you can't even use it all the time. It depends on
Yeah,
how things are grouped.
and then we have a single target, like CC with para. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
That's all we got.
Don't even have like a spell reflect to let a
Nope.
kick to save somebody a kick. You don't have
Well,
like a shockwave.
technically you can reverse with diffuse, but the lists that are actually diffusable is so short.
Oh
It's
no.
not even like Prot Warriors with their spell reflect. It's not that list. It's a different list. It's smaller than that. Like, it's so rude.
Yeah, because when you spell reflect something, it can be an attack, whereas diffuse relies on it being a dot. So it's like,
Exactly.
okay, well,
Yep. It's not fun. But I consistently make those tier lists wrong. So there's that.
that that's the
It's
thing. The tier lists are like good for the people pushing like the highest possible keys, but then unfortunately the way people interpret it is even like mid-range keys, like I don't know, maybe let's say like a 5, people still ask for meta. It was like the same
yeah.
problem when Og Evokers came out. Is the most annoying thing. It's like before they did the level squish, it's like no, you don't need an Og Evoker for your KSM keys. Like it's literally invite any other DPS.
Oh, it's my favorite right now. No other healer except for shamans for a 5 Grimbatol. Like it's a 5, dude. We're fine. Just
Like
take a
if
healer.
it was a 10, 11, 12, sure, understandable. But at that
Right.
point, as long as people are interrupted and doing the job, you should get through it no problem.
And even then the tank won't die.
Yeah. So,
Oh man. So you haven't really M plus a whole lot. But
yeah,
I am
just
gonna
like
ask you
one or
some
two seasons.
Okay. Have you done any current stuff?
No, I definitely haven't done any current Mythic Plus at all.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate because I was gonna ask you all about, what do you think of the Xalatath stuff? Because
I
it's
will
very
say,
interesting.
yeah, I will say though, like my only opinion on any of the Mythic Plus dungeons right now is one, why did they bring back Siege of Borealis? And then
Nobody
two,
knows.
and then two, the first time I ever did Dawnbreaker, I hated it. I actually got so motion sick because the ships and like the taking off and landing threw me off a lot, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna throw up mid dungeon. This is so bad.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has issues with that.
I don't get
It's
motion
weird because
sickness.
I didn't have problems with the train, the Grimrail Depot
Right.
one. I didn't
Yeah.
have problems with that. That was fine for me. But this one, for some reason, just when you take off, like your camera, I don't know if there's probably a setting I can enable, but when you like take off and land, it like snaps your character like the slightest bit, but I catch it and it just disorients me, and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening?
I've had it happen a few times just out in the world and whatnot where it'll auto pitch you to like level and then you start losing speed. It
Yeah, like
drives
something
me
like that,
insane.
and then it like at least in Dawnbreaker, it I've had situations where it just snaps my character to like a slightly different spot where I landed. I don't
Oh
know if it's
yeah.
because of like latency or server ping, and that's what makes me like nauseous, and I'm like, it's so bad.
That happens every time I land. I'll land middle of the boat, it sends me straight to the stern, and I'm looking a different direction. I'm like, "Thanks, that wasn't jarring at all."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but, I don't mind Dawnbreaker as a dungeon itself. The bosses are
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't
It's
either.
short.
It's literally just
It's
the
just yeah,
flying.
yeah. And it's funny you bring up, Grimrail Depot. I think it's because it was, 1, largely indoors, except for the very end, right? So, the motion part of it wasn't so bad, and it was steady motion, whereas on the Dawnbreaker, it's kind of stop and start, turny,
Yeah,
slow
that's what it
stuff.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different thing. I can understand that. I'm very fortunate that I don't get motion sickness, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, even in real life, I rarely ever get motion sickness. I'll get, like, seasick, that's the worst I've ever had. I had really
Oh,
severe
that's rough.
seasickness, but in terms of everything else, like cars, stuff like that, I usually don't get it, so that's why I was very surprised it happened in that dungeon, because 'cause I'm usually not that sensitive to it, but for some reason, like, that pushing and pulling was just so jarring for me.
Interesting. So, you're doing Blitz, and forgive me because, like I said, my last PvP experience was in vanilla with Warsong Gulch being ganked by a rogue on a mage. It was not fun. But so, explain to me like I'm 5, what is Blitz?
So Blitz is basically a rated, competitive, sped up version of BGs with some alterations that they did like talk about. So before there used to be rated battlegrounds, which there still is, it's just not again not as popular as it used to be before, which were 10v10s. Blitz is 8v8s and it promotes solo queuing, but you can also duo queue. So it's like their take on solo shuffle but for BGs. So the composition is like 60 PS, 2 healers. There will never be a tank in the match unless both teams have it. So the way that works is either both teams either don't have a tank or both teams will have a tank. So that's how they kind of keep it balanced in that way. There's no class restrictions or anything. And then they just made like some specific changes, like how the maps work. So Warsong Gulch, for example, if neither team has an actual tank specialization in the group, whoever picks up the flag will actually get like a flag carrier buff that like decreases the damage they take when they're in a stun or something. And they also run faster and have, oh, I forget if they have increased health or not, but it basically just gives them a buff to be a little more tanky, to make up for not having a tank. And then there's like special power ups around like certain maps as well that you can pick up. So like before, what only druids, hunters, rogues can stealth, but they introduce like a power up that if anyone picks it up, they will be stealth, no matter what class you are. And then there's one that makes your cooldowns cool down faster so that they're up more often. And then there's like two other ones where one gives you like a shield, and then I can't remember the last one off the top of my head for some reason, but there's just a bunch of power ups around the map, or like the I know the node maps are really confusing for people. So like typically when someone does a Rothi Basin, you just cap the base and you hold it indefinitely until someone else caps it. But the change they made specifically for Blitz is that you cap the base, and it caps over, and then for 45 seconds it has like a shield on it, so it's in your control but you can leave it, and that shield prevents anyone from capping it for 45 seconds. And then after the 45 seconds is over, the base resets and then uh it becomes neutral again, and then players can contest for it again. So those maps, rather than like defending the same three bases and going back and forth, everyone is kind of rotating now the whole time to go spin those flags, and it's really chaotic basically.
I like that they made it a lot more active then. That sounds a lot more engaging than rather than just,
Yeah, it's
defend.
definitely a lot more engaging, but that also leaves the door open for people who don't know what they're doing to kind of
Me.
like
Me, right
make it
here.
super frustrating to lose games when they're not like where they need to be.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's
So,
always been the struggle though, because constant
yeah.
in
Especially
the
since
chat,
it's
right?
new. It's also new and there's never like a lot of um there's never a lot of easy accessible information about how to PvP. It's always like, oh, you have to look up a guide by rank ones. You have to go watch their streams. You have to go read a player's guide rather than something in the game telling you how to do it, type of thing.
But I
And
don't wanna.
that brings us back to why Oasis exists. Yay.
Exactly.
Look, we got there. We got there eventually. So, uh, right. So we talked about favorite content. Oh, here's the important question. Well, actually, when did you start playing? Are you an
Uh,
old geezer like the rest of us, or are you relatively new? Are you a Wrath baby? What?
so I so in terms of like real age, I'm younger, but I've technically played since vanilla kinda because my dad and brother were the first two to play, and my dad absolutely despised PvP. Like it actually, like I remember sometimes he would slam his keyboard because that's how much he
I
hated
still do.
PvP. so so when it came to like PvP achievements or PvP grinds, I always did it for him on his account. So in like vanilla, for example, I would always do his Ultrec Valley queues for him, and I'd always do those BGs for him. In BC, I don't think I did it as much, but then in like Wrath of the Lich King, I did all of his BG because I think that's when they started introducing achievements. I did all his like BG achievements, and I farmed like all his Wintergrass stuff for him when it was current, and then I kind of kept doing that on and off, and then I finally got my own account around like Mop, and then I just started playing on my own account after that.
Okay. So so you've been around for all the expansions then. So which one is your favorite, and why is it Mop?
I actually hated Mop. I'm gonna be
No.
honest. I actually did not like it. Um, but I don't know. That's because like I didn't like the raids as much. Because again, like I'm not a raider, and I didn't know that back then. So I would
And
get frustrated at
fighting
my like.
words.
I would get frustrated at my guild a lot. Like I'm ready to pull bosses, and they're just kind of talking on what I don't know what voice we were using back then because I don't think it was Discord yet.
It
Probably
But
wasn't Discord.
Ventrilo.
It was either Vent or Mumble or maybe even TeamSpeak.
it was probably Vent still. But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember like my guild would take like forever to pull bosses and stuff like that. Like they just kind of be yapping the whole time and about nothing that even mattered or pertained to the raid, and I'd be there like, "Can we pull the boss?" But no, I think my favorite expansion was Wrath, just because not only did I do PvP for my dad during that expansion, I also actually raided for him a lot because he was on like 3 different raid teams at the time, and when he would work, obviously he would be tired. So I remember he had a Saturday morning team that raided, and he would let me uh raid on that character for him if he was too tired to do it. So I would learn to play Warlock, or then occasionally his like main raid was a Resto Druid at night. So sometimes he would let me do that because sometimes when I did play his character, I parsed higher than he was healing. so uh so I did that for like Nax, I did it for Ulduar, and I did it for ICC. I think I did oh what's that one raid? Trial of the Crusader. I did that one. I think the only raids I didn't touch that expansion was like Ruby Sanctum, that very last mini raid.
Yeah.
I think that's like the only one I did touch, but I had raided so much during that expansion, which was when like I think was the last time I actually enjoyed raiding. Um, and I don't know, I just had a lot of memories from that expansion. I think that's when I started registering and like understanding how to actually play the game better. So it became more fun for me in that sense.
That's
Uh,
fair.
but in like Kata and Mop, the reason I didn't really like the expansions was because my rating experiences probably weren't as good. And around that time, I was also learning like this is when my interest in becoming a PvP main actually started. So during those two expansions and even the end of Wrath of the Lich King, that's when those trial accounts became a thing, like a
Yep.
permanent trial account. So I actually used to have a level 20 twink, and that bracket was so popular because everyone would be level 20 because your XP would just stop and then you would go farm like rare items and then just deck your character out, and you would control that bracket because that bracket was so popular with people that were leveling and other people that started to do that trial account thing that it actually became a really large community. Like it would just be a bunch of level 20s spam queuing BGs all day, and that was our bracket. So we
Yeah,
all
I
just
remember
constantly
those
fought each
days.
other.
I remember those days. It's funny that you switched over to PvP because I I went hard into the raiding. Like I played all through vanilla and all the way the whole time, but I didn't start actually like seriously raiding until Kata, and that's where I just love raiding myself. So it's interesting to hear from the other side, if you will.
The other side.
The dark
But
side.
I can't say it's the dark side because my raid team is literally called the Empire, as in
Okay.
the Empire. So it's the
So
light side. Um,
so Jazzy mythic grades, I heroic grade.
yeah. I
We're
I
both ends of the spectrum in the guild.
so it's funny you talked about the 3 hours for a raid night, and mine are 3.5, 3 nights a week.
Oh god, yeah. See, I would
Dude,
never be able to do
Sometimes
that.
we
more.
we do 3 hours 1 night a week.
Yeah. And that's outside of like, okay, time to do your M pluses. Well, those are outside of raid time. So doing all the other stuff. It's a lot. I'm glad I don't have a life other than WoW.
He's gotta
So
put up with me.
yeah, this is true, and that's a full-time gig.
I'm not that bad.
It's just it's a lot. You're a lot, Shay.
Would you have it any other way?
Absolutely not. Not at all. So
We have a whole lot of personalities.
we do, and some of them are even outside of my head. Um, so so I understand that Oasis has a few things coming up in the near future. You want to talk about that a bit?
Sure. So the biggest thing that's like coming up is our charity event that's in 2 weeks. It's something we've done every year for the past 3 years now, so it's something that's pretty exciting. The only unfortunate part is the timing this year is that it's still relatively early into a season, so we can't do the normal things we normally do. Like we typically do AOTC carries, Mythic Plus carries, and stuff like that. But because again it's early in the season, the availability of our volunteers is kind of smaller, and a lot of people still like haven't like killed heroic queen and like are farming it a lot if they're not progging mythic on top of it. So so we kind of took like a different route this year. But we have that coming up with like a little more casual stuff, a little more like game showy type stuff, which is going to be interesting to try for the first time, but I'm excited for it. Um, Other than that, we've kind of just picked up our weekly events again. So there's like a vault run that we do for normal the normal raid. Every time there's a time walking week, we try to fit in like a time walking raid. We're trying to implement more social nights. So like we have these bi-weekly things where we like kind of fish and watch a movie, or like today was transmog farming in old legacy raids. And then I know that two of your people are actually helping us with like Mythic Plus days, which is really really nice as well.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been fun to like see all of those events again. I'm slowly gonna try to implement PvP events again. Like I know I did a BG Blitz roundtable last week, and there was pretty good feedback from that. So moving forward, I'm gonna try to like host roundtables essentially where I tell people to like record their gameplay and provide video footage so we can go over it and like give pointers on how people can improve or like what's going wrong in their games and stuff like that. Because it's hard. The hard thing about PvP is it's limited to 2 people, 3 people, and like you sacrifice your rating to play with someone else. So that's the really unfortunate part about teaching people PvP. So I'm trying to take the more like external approach, like, okay, you play your games and give me footage, and I can go into super detail about like what's going wrong. And I think it's important to record gameplay anyways, because especially in PvP at least, there's so much going on at once that like you need time to go back and actually reflect on it because you're probably not thinking about it during the middle of a game. So
No, until it becomes second nature, you have no idea.
yeah.
Same thing happens, and shout out to, like, the casters for every esport, MDI, AWC, all of them, for
Oh yeah.
making
I
it so
never
that I
understand
can
how they keep
understand what's
up.
happening.
Yeah.
So,
It's because we're in Narnia, Jazzy.
I mean, well, wait, you may be, I got boss crotch view.
You can have fun with Boss Crotch View. I will stand in Narnia on my range.
But yeah, the casters do a great job at helping to understand and getting the excitement up and whatnot, and, so, yeah, shout out to them. So, I always recording your own gameplay from any point of view, from anything is always great, even for self-critique. I tell my raiders to do the same thing. So, yay!
Speaking of charity events,
Where?
we've got a streamathon coming up in December too.
You don't say.
Yeah, I'm
So,
excited to learn more.
yeah, so they we haven't finalized the charity yet. We always do something around kids
Mhm.
because of the holidays. I will let you know as soon as I have more information on that. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll at least have the charity finalized.
Yeah,
I don't know about how soon the flyers are going to come out, but that's neither here nor there. So,
but
streamathons are always fun.
we do.
Whether you're doing Mythic Plus or doing other things like you guys are doing in Oasis, they're always fun. And I don't know. I just it's something that I know the guild takes a lot of pride in, but I take a lot of pride in it too.
Mhm.
We've
Just
done it
because
for so long.
yeah, I think I took over doing social media for Eternal Kingdom right before the third streamathon that we
Sounds
had
about
ever
right, yeah.
done. Yeah, that was back in 2017. So that tells you how long I've been around.
Stop
Um
reminding me how old I am, Shay.
you joined right after I joined the guild. So we're both probably getting close to 8 years in the
Yeah,
guild.
yeah, getting there. Oof. But,
So
yeah, you didn't say the date, though. Date is
December 7th.
December 7th.
Be on the
Yeah.
lookout for more details. It will be all over our Discord. It's going to be all over social media. Um, Lots of people help us promote it, Cherry included.
Yes, thank you, Cherry.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, lots of fun things coming.
So start rounding up your peeps and getting your teams all sorted. There will be
Yeah.
spreadsheets.
Yeah, I was about to say if you need some extra hands or want some people to compete, I could probably rally some people together. I can also, since it's in December, I can probably request that day off if I'm not already working, but I don't remember if I'm
It is a Saturday, so I don't know if
I
true.
that
don't work
helps or not.
weekends. I don't work weekends.
I don't either. Cherry might. There's a few
I
people
mean,
that work
Depends.
weekends.
yeah, I
Oh.
will. I'll definitely keep you posted. Um, but yeah, streamathons everywhere.
Yeah.
I love streamathons.
They're so
They're so
much
much.
fun.
They are fun and they benefit good causes. And yours is for it's Able Gamers, right?
For oh, the one we're doing? No, we do Gamers Outreach. So
Gamers
they're the
Outreach.
yeah, they're the ones that they bring the video games to hospitalized children and they're the ones that build like those go-karts. So the GO stands for Gamers Outreach. That's how they spell it. So they make go-karts that basically it doubles as something that carries like the consoles and stuff around, but it also has like built-in trays so that if there's anything like any medical supplies they need to bring into the room, they're also able to put it in there. So it's easy to like just move everything around all together. And if a child is like they have to be like confined to the bed, it has a way I think the screen can like bend and like be moved so that they can play from laying down and stuff like that. It's just it's really good accessibility.
That's good. I think we've done events for that charity, haven't we, Jazzy?
We have, yeah, a couple times.
Yep.
We've done, oh, I'd have to pull up the sheet to find out, but we've done
I'd have to pull up the sheet.
so many. Able Gamers, Gamers Outreach. We did Ronald McDonald House one
We've done
time.
Toys for Tots a couple of times.
Done Toys for Tots a couple times.
Yeah,
We've
Toys for
done,
Tots is one I want to definitely eventually do. It's
that's
just
just for
it's
the kids
I
ones.
know Yeah, I know for me it's just because the planning takes a lot of time and I'm busy IRL, that's why like I feel like I would do more charity events more often if I had more free time.
I would too. That stupid thing is called a job, I think? It's horrible.
Yeah, why do we need jobs? Who needs money, man?
Right?
Like, who cares
Now
about
we don't
that?
have bills to pay.
Right. Where's my utopia where money doesn't matter?
I mean, we can always rent a bus, Jazzy.
I mean, we're already renting that bus. That's a different bus. That's a different utopia.
Are you still driving?
Oh yeah. Blaring some AC/DC, it'll make sense.
That works for me. Oh, man. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about from Oasis standpoint, Cherry?
Uh, I mean, other than that, we're always in dire need of more event leaders. That's really it, honestly.
I mean, that's a thing everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure we'll
everywhere. It's
I'm
it's
sure
hard to find people that want to lead because like so some people like don't mind leading like their own groups, but when it comes to a large community, that's very daunting, and I understand. You're dealing with so many different personalities. It's like, are you gonna be able to handle that? It's definitely not for everyone.
And I
I'm
promise they're
sh
not all mine.
Yeah, right.
I promise there are other people and not the voices in my head.
See, the beauty of my voices is they usually speak a different language.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeezy peasy
Oh no.
Jazzy.
This just means I can ignore them or just nod and say, "Uh-huh."
Mhm.
I'm sure we'll have your links to all the things down in the doobly-doo below, so
Yep,
yay!
we've already shared your posts, so, we will check in the description here. We will have a link to it. Um, but yeah, I think that's all we have. Do you have anything
Yeah.
else, Jazzy?
No, thank you, Cherry, very much for coming along and, joining us on our wild rampaging escapades.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It was a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure. It's always nice to put a voice with the name.
Now we know what your voice sounds like when you text.
Now you'll hear that voice in your head too.
That's
You
it.
know,
That's it.
you joke. Yes, I will.
It's okay. We had Raider IO join us on a podcast back. What was it? It was May, right, Jazzy?
God, was it that long ago?
I think it was May, and now I've got Pico and Selly's voices in my head, and
Yeah.
anytime I talk to either one of them, I hear them typing in their voice.
Absolutely, as do I. It happens with everybody, it's great. Makes things a
It's
lot easier.
it's a thing. But anywho, it's been a pleasure, Cherry. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see everybody next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Craig!
Bye, Craig.
Goodbye.